Awesome. Thank you. Thank you again so much for doing this. This is so cool.
No worries, man.
Yeah. And then, so this is my friend Jonah. He's on here too. We kind of just do the show together.
How's it going?
Hey.
So, basically I just want to ask you a bunch of questions because I was super duper like impressed with your first performance in the UFC. So basically I just wanted to ask, so like, how did you get into MMA, and what did why did you pick it as a career? Or
I tell you the truth, so I started off wrestling in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestled in high school, and then a buddy of mine, and then I was gonna go to a college, but it didn't work out. So I ended up going to a community college in my hometown called Yakima.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was offered to go to Stanford University.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, but I turned it down. Yeah, I turned it down because my dad passed away at the same time when I wanted to stay home close to my mom.
Uh-huh.
So I went to the local community college, and they're like, "Hey, bro, wrestle for us. We'll give you a full scholarship and we'll pay you." I'm like, done. I get to stay home. Yeah, I get to stay home, wrestle at this college. And when I was wrestling at this college, a buddy of mine like, "Hey, man, could you help me with my wrestling for an MMA fight?" And I'm like, "What's this MMA thing?" You know? Yeah. I boxed when I was younger, but it wasn't nothing crazy. Just like some little gyms here and there, but never had a fight. So I was with this wrestling, and one day he's like, "Hey, man, do you want to come corner me as an amateur fight, as an amateur?" Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Sure, I'll come corner you." So we go over there. He's cutting weight, makes weight. The day of the fight, the co-main he was the main event. The co-main event dropped out, didn't show up. So they asked me like, "Hey, you want to fight?" And I'm like, jokingly, I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll fight somebody." Thinking like, there's no way you're gonna make me fight the day of the fight.
Yeah.
Literally an hour before I was gonna be in the fight. And they're like, "Yeah, here's your mouthpiece, here's a cup. Go ahead." And I'm like,
that's so crazy.
That's so cool.
That's insane. Yeah, I think I was watching an interview that like the Schmo did or whatever, and he was talking about how like Mark Goddard got into refereeing, and it's like a super similar story. Like the referee couldn't show up one day, and he just went in there, and like the rest is history. That's insane.
So I went in there and I won the fight with a 7-second knockout. Went in there, took a left, dropped him, and it was like, "Oh, all right, I'm kind of good at this."
Yeah.
So then I kept training, and then I joined this gym called Yakima MMA. Mm-hmm. There's where I met Brian Caraway and Misha Tate.
Oh, wow.
You know Misha.
Yeah.
So Misha Tate was the former world champion, and then Brian Caraway was, at the time, her boyfriend and one of the coaches at the gym. So I just became friends with them, and I was helping Misha throughout her whole career, you know, being a training partner or stuff like that, and then learning from Brian while he's getting ready for his fights.
Yeah.
And then after I went to college and graduated, they told me, like, "Hey, man, want to come to Vegas?" And I'm like, "Sure." Fucking after I graduated, came over here, live with them for a little bit, and then slowly just took a fight for Bellator, and then started fighting for Combate.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Where you became the champ.
Kept winning. Lost my first time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was my third time fighting for the world title when I won it.
Wow. That's awesome. So, yeah, you fought for a bunch of different promotions then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually have a question. So, well, I want to ask one thing. So when because like mixed martial arts is crazy. You have to know like everything. You have to be so well-rounded. And like, how do you divvy up your time, like wrestling, since you have a wrestling background and boxing? Well, like, how do you prioritize everything? You know what I mean?
Check this out. My schedule on Monday. So tomorrow, 9 a.m. I have drilling with the team. We drill from like 9 to 10, kind of kickboxing, boxing drills. At 11, I have strength conditioning. At 1 o'clock, I have PT. 2 o'clock, I have private with my boxing coach. 3:30, I have pro practice. And then I think like 7 o'clock, we do jiu-jitsu. That's a Monday.
Yeah, that's insane. That's so busy.
And then on Tuesday, we spar. We drill in the morning. We spar. Wednesday, we drill, strength conditioning. private with boxing. And then we go wrestle. Friday, Thursday, I take off. Then Friday, a drilling, boxing, and then strength conditioning.
Holy moly. So, like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm kind of like new to the UFC thing right now, but are you training for a fight at the moment, or is this kind of just what you do to stay in shape?
This is what I do to stay in shape, but it's, the closer we get to a fight, the more specific we're going to get stuff down. So,
right. How do you...
Now we're just learning and just getting better.
Yeah.
But closer you get to a fight, you like, oh, this guy's good at striking. We got to worry about, get this. But we also we want to focus on what I'm good at.
Yeah.
So regardless of who I fight, it's gonna be my game plan, not being defensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you keep so that's such a busy schedule. Like, how do you keep from getting burnt out? You know what I mean? Or do you ever just think about why am I doing this to myself? Is there, I don't know, that just seems like a lot.
Absolutely love every moment of the day.
Yeah.
I wake up, my usually schedule, I wake up around 6 o'clock, 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have coffee. I'll kind of just relax. I'll hang out with my dog, drink some coffee, and around 8:30, I start heading to the gym. But I'll just, enjoy my mornings, drink coffee, and just kind of of a crazy life that we're living in right now. I get to go do something that I love every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you get burnt out with that?
That's true.
You I'm you've seen most fights. I'm always smiling. I love what I'm doing, and I'm very grateful and being in such a good position right now that I'm not stressing over anything and just going out and learning how to get better.
That's
I love
awesome.
I love the teammates and friends I've made throughout all this, and I'm very grateful for being where I'm at and just the friends I've made, and I'm still making.
Yeah, that's incredible. So I kind of wanted to talk about how this whole opportunity arose, because kind of what caught my eyes, you were smiling the whole entire fight basically against Marab. So how did you get this opportunity? Was it basically just because you're the champ, or is it because you lived in Vegas?
I think it was a little bit of, it was definitely because I had a good winning streak at the time. I was the world champion at this other company. And then my manager is actually good friends with Sean Shelby, the matchmaker. Right. So my manager is really good, very high connected with the UFC. So his opponent dropped out, and luckily my manager was at the right time. Hey, you're 35er, and he's like, hey, I got one. Gave me a call, hey, you want to fight? When? Tomorrow. Done. And we I got signed that quick.
That's awesome.
I had a 20-hour notice, and then I checked. I was 17 pounds over.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you got a catch weight at 140, right?
I was still 17 pounds over.
Wow. Yeah.
So I lost 17 pounds in 20 hours the day before that fight.
That's brutal. How do you even go about doing that?
You sweat. You sweat a lot.
Well, yeah. You're in such good shape, it's probably just a bunch of water, huh?
Yeah, it's majority water. I'm still I'm not my body percentage is not low. I'm not super lean right now, but you're not gonna burn any fat right now. When you gotta eat, you literally dehydrate yourself into you can't do it anymore, or the body doesn't give you enough water.
Yeah, so
it's bad. My body didn't perform the way I felt the next day. I felt good, but soon the started, my muscles felt heavy. I was tired. I wasn't really in good shape. I thought I was in decent shape, enough to keep fighting, but I could have been in way better shape. So that's one of the things I've been working on recently.
Yeah, for sure.
For the next fight.
You seem to be in really good shape. I mean, you were the whole fight was basically just grappling, and that takes a lot out of you.
At the time, probably I was at say 50% of my potential. I was drinking the night, a couple nights before that, we were out drinking, having a good time. Not thinking, you want to fight? I'm let's do it.
That's insane. But an opportunity like that, you can't pass it up, though.
I would have fought anyone on the roster, 35 or at 45 to get in.
Exactly. Yeah. So, since you were signed, since it's like a short notice thing, so are you basically like what does your contract look like? Is it like a 3-fight deal or like what was that? Sorry,
a 4-fight deal. So
4-fight. Okay.
So I have 3 more fights in my contract, and then the whole plan is to keep winning and then get re-signed and keep going until I retire.
Right on.
Or a title.
Yeah. Are you eyeballing anybody right now? Is there anything lined up?
Not really. No, there's nothing. No lines. No fine. My manager is in Abu Dhabi right now in the Fight Island, managing. So when he gets back, we're gonna start looking into getting somebody in the fight.
Right on.
End of August.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So coming up.
Yeah, end of August or early September. Yeah, because I hear they're gonna fight in Vegas the next. So I'd be perfect because I'm here. No stressing, flying anywhere. I just go beat somebody up and then go home.
Exactly. Was there any talks? Did you like ever? Well, I mean, I guess it was kind of soon that Fight Island happened, like after your fight. But was there any talks of maybe stepping in or anything? Since you live in Vegas, if anybody got COVID.
If I got the call, there wasn't no talk about it. But if it did happen, yeah, I'm always down to fight.
Yeah, that would be insane. I can't even believe the trip that they have to go through and then make weight. And then I can't even imagine how they even did it. And then wake up early in the morning. Like, that's crazy.
Fighting like at 3 a.m.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, the main card starts at like 3 a.m. It would be so hard to adjust. You just have to stay, I guess, on your time zone.
Yeah, you stay on our time zone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's insane. So, but I want to talk. So, like, in terms of like your fight with Marab or whatever, were you? I mean, obviously, you weren't at your like full potential because you had to take the fight on like 1 day's notice. But were you pretty excited about the fact that you like hung around with a top 15 bantamweight in the world? Like, that's insane.
We thought we were gonna fuck him up.
Yeah.
Like, going into that fight, like, oh, we're gonna fuck this dude up. His wrestling was better than I thought it was gonna be. And it was my fault for trying to go for a guillotine so many times. Like, I wish I would have just bit down and kind of just wrestled with him more, other than try to go for the guillotine. Because when you go for the, kind of let him take you down with it. Yeah. So if you don't there's one time I almost caught him at the guillotine, but he jumped over. But if I would have just sat down and wrestled with him when he tried to wrestle me, it would have been a different fight. I can tell that you weren't like phased at all. You're scrambled. You got up to your feet. Like, it didn't matter. It looked like you belonged. Oh, I definitely belong. Because I'm actually a good wrestler. Yeah. I'm like the last 3-4 fights of mine been all knockouts, but I'm majority of a wrestler. I'm a base of a wrestler base, learning how to strike. 100%. My striking, I don't know. My striking is mediocre compared to my wrestling. It looked good, though. I mean, you look like a fluid striker. I mean, like, it didn't look like you have a lot of holes at all. There's so many I got to work on. Yeah. So much and it's funny because I have so much to grow. And even though people say, like, oh, man, you had a good fight. I'm like, yeah, all right, thank you. No, but yeah. I felt like I could, like, me in a full camp is a different story. For sure. I mean, for the next one, we've been going at it for the past 4 weeks. The UFC PI, do my conditioning, make sure I'm eating right, my nutrition is changed. It's just, I'm excited to the last 4 weeks when we get more fine tuning everything, making sure I'm like ready to go. For sure, yeah. So, was it more freeing or more stressful taking the fight on short notice? Because I mean, like, it's almost it was kind of like a win-win in a way. All you had to do, you know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. I definitely, even though I lost the fight, I gained much from it. Yeah. I got zero negative feedback about it. And everybody was like, man, you stuck in there. And like, of course, the win was what we want at the end. But I grew much and I got signed. Now I get all the benefits of being in the UFC. I live in Las Vegas. So it's easier for me to just go down there and just get all the work taken care of. So we're in a good spot right now. Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. So how much do you think you can improve based off all the resources that the UFC provides you now? So much.
Yeah.
There's like they do so much. The way that they do their testing to make sure like you're in shape, and then they do strength conditioning at the UFC PI. They have a nutritionist that makes sure what you're supposed to be eating, the vitamins. They cook lunch and dinner for you, and then they got physical therapy in the UFC that they if your shoulder's hurting or something's wrong, they fix you up and then you're ready to go.
Yeah. Did you have access to this before you were? No. Okay, it's only for UFC?
Yeah, it's only for people that fight for the UFC.
Okay, cool.
I go in there before with teammates, but it's like everything was based on what they needed. So I kind of was a partner to them. But it's different when it's all the science is based on you. So all the workouts are based on your results and your testing. So
yeah. So do you just schedule appointments and that's just there for you? That's amazing.
Yeah. You call them up like, hey, can I come in for physical therapy? I do Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. I do strength conditioning Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then I do another PT on Tuesday. So I'm there like four times a week.
Mm-hmm. So is your nutrition? Do they pre-cook stuff for you, or how does that work?
Yeah, okay. They have a chef at the UFC PI that cooks, buddy.
So is it like a meal prep kind of thing, or how does that work?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Pretty much. They just feed you what you need. Exactly.
Okay. Got it.
When you go out and you're cooking your food, you're guessing on what you should be eating.
Mm-hmm.
And like majority of the people do eat right, but like when they weigh and do everything for you, because I feel like I'm a smart guy, but I was never 100% sure on what I should be eating, what nutrients, and then you don't know if you're low on certain vitamins unless you go get tested. So they tested my blood, and they found out I was low on iron.
Mm-hmm.
So more iron, a supplement iron, and then so iron determines how much energy level you have.
Yeah.
So if you're low on, that means you usually have like a low energy. I already had a high energy, and they added more to it to make sure it's right. So I feel even better now. It's ridiculous. So it's something unless you go test it.
Mm-hmm. So you went through a bunch of blood tests and everything, then they just tell you what you're going to eat, and then you just kind of. So because there's so many UFC fighters, though, how do they like differentiate what they give to each person? Do they just have like a list of like what you have, like for individually Gustavo? Like that's sweet.
It's pretty simple. Like, and then there's vitamins that they give us, like supplements that sometimes you won't get it all through food. You'll get it through like in the mornings. I have like a bunch of supplements that I take. That's multivitamins and just endless amounts of things that they provide all for free. They're like, hey man, you're part of the UFC. This is for you.
That's amazing. It's just really interesting because I'm like studying nutrition in college right now, so that whole side of it is awesome. But yeah, I wanted to ask you about like the kind of the mental side of fighting. So I know that there's nothing to like hang your head about in your last fight, but since there's not a very big since there's a lot of times you can't have a quick turnaround in fighting since you take so much damage. How do you what do you prefer doing if you take a loss? Like how do you deal with that mentally? Do you like to get back in the gym? Right.
Gym.
Right away.
In the gym on Monday.
Oh, okay. Oh wow.
Because so teammates of mine had fights coming up, so I went over there and helped them.
Mm-hmm.
They made me take a week off, and then I was back in the gym already. Like, there's so many holes that I saw that I need to work on. That I've just been trying to get better.
Mm-hmm. So you're like friends with all your training partners, obviously. Do you ever find it hard, like leveling out, being a friend and like actually fighting one another, like sparring or anything?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No, not at all. Like we're there to better, and it's like we're not. Of course, we're not going to hurt each other, but our pressures and our like technique is going to be on.
Awesome.
And we're trying. You're not going to, try to hurt your teammate or your friend.
No, obviously,
sure he gets the right look that he needs to be ready for his fight coming up.
Yeah, I just feel like obviously not like. I feel like sometimes it could get heated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have our arguments here and there.
Mm-hmm.
You punch each other in the face, you kind of get a little upset, but
Yeah.
Like everybody's where'd it go? Everybody's make each other better.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
do you pretty much keep it tight, or do you bring guys in?
I haven't brought anyone yet. The majority of my team lives in Las Vegas.
Okay, that's cool. So, but if you had like a big training camp, if you had like do you basically have everyone that fills all your needs? Like you're like, if you're in your camp, are you like the wrestling kind of guy, or you know what I mean? Like you have like a striker, like since you're using each other.
Gym has everybody. There's so good like fighters and teammates that we have, and there's some people are just better in striking than grappling, but majority of our fighters are like they're all well rounded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
There's Cody Stamen, a bunch of tough dudes that we have in at Extreme Couture.
I love Cody Stamen. He's so good.
He's a dope. He's a really good guy. He actually just joined our team maybe a year ago.
Oh, no way.
Been great.
Wow.
Really good guy. Great training partner. Somebody especially he's like, I think he's top 9 right now in the world.
Yeah, he's a beast.
It's nice to be able to train with a person like that, to see where you're at.
Yeah, he had a good fight with Jimmy Rivera.
Yeah, but you just took that at a really short notice, and he fought 2 weeks before that.
Yeah, against a really good guy.
Yeah, so
Brian Killer. Yeah,
he'll be back.
Yeah. So do you have anyone that like you kind of have your eyes on? Because there's this 135 pound division so stacked right now. Is there anybody that kind of interests you at all, or do you just kind of not care?
I really don't care, to tell you the truth. My manager deals with who I fight, so when he gets back, we'll talk. We'll sit down with them and see what's the right matchup and what's going to move me up in the division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, your goal obviously is to just string some wins and eventually fight for the title. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
The end goal for sure is always to become a world champion.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I wanted to ask you about. So like, where do you see yourself fitting in exactly? So you want to obviously fight the best guy. So, would it be cool? Would you fight? Like, how would it be? How would you feel fighting someone like Sugar Sean O'Malley or someone like that?
No, I love it. I know the guy. We're friends, actually. We're managed under the same management.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we probably won't fight unless for a world title, because we have the same manager.
Yeah. Oh, you have the same manager?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, do you have like what's up?
Go ahead.
Do you have like a relationship with like the uppers in the UFC? Like, do you ever talk to them, or do you let the UFC like your manager handle everything?
No, like the Sean Shelby and all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
No, I let my manager deal with them. Like I know them, but it's not something like if I see them, I'll say hi. But like business wise, I'll let my manager handle everything.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I wanted to ask you, because I didn't know that you had offered to wrestle at Stanford. Did you hear about like all their program cuts from coronavirus? Like they cut wrestling and stuff. Like that's terrible.
Horrible, man.
Yeah.
A lot of sports just kind of stopped doing it because of the whole COVID thing.
Mm-hmm. It's so tough.
It sucks. You know, a lot of rely on sports to go to college and then better their lives. So
exactly.
Right now we're definitely in a hard time right now.
No, yeah, it's really tough. I had a couple of my cousins like wrestled at OSU, and college wrestling is like super fun to watch. I love it. Yeah, and then just like watching like schools like Iowa, like a bunch of my friends, those guys are just insane.
Yeah, those athletes. Like I was never that great I was a good college wrestler, and I was good in high school, but there were so many other wrestlers that were so much better than me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my transition to MMA, I feel pretty world class, but those wrestlers that just wrestle, they're amazing.
Yeah. Would you say that wrestling is like the main thing that you need to? I mean, not necessarily that you need, but
it's very helpful.
Yeah,
it's very helpful to determine, like, if say you're good at striking, if you don't want to get taken down, you got to stop a takedown.
Yeah.
If you're good on the ground, that's great and all, but you still got to take somebody down.
Mm-hmm.
The wrestling is the middle one that helps you determine where you to control the fight. Do you want it to be standing? Do you want it to be on the ground?
Exactly.
Nice.
You want to be able to dictate the fight, huh?
100%. That helps so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it seems like all the best, especially at the welterweight division, all of those guys that are dominant, and even like Khabib and stuff, all of those guys, their wrestling is insane.
They can determine where to control the fight. Like if you're a good striker, that's good and all, but you better have a good wrestling takedown defense to be high, because eventually someone takes you down, you can't punch somebody off your back.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy to see all these great strikers get like nullified by these guys that are wrestlers. Like,
because it's a different world, to tell you the truth, man. Yeah, even the biggest guys, you put them on their back, it's a different world.
Right. It's because like, would you say that you have to kind of start early? Because I mean, like, obviously, like Conor McGregor and those guys, they have really good ground games, but like he didn't grow up wrestling, obviously, So do you think it's like harder to pick up?
Not really. Look at St. Pierre. He never wrestled.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
And he had one of the best takedowns stand up forever. So like it determines on who you are and how well you learn something. So it does help starting early, but it doesn't like, oh my God, I can't learn it you can't learn it. It just takes time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't just I know what you mean.
But you definitely should learn it though.
Yeah, for sure. I wrestled a little bit when I was little, but I don't know. I just never got into it. I was more of like the baseball that kind of route. Did you ever play anything else like in high school?
I played soccer and I golf.
And what?
Golf.
You play golf?
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, Jonah's a big golf guy.
Oh, I love golf.
Yeah, it's amazing. Do you follow the PGA Tour at all?
No, I don't follow.
Do you still play down in Vegas?
Once in a while, some friends will ask me to go play, and we'll go. We'll just go to the what's it called, the driving range, and play a couple holes. But I haven't played in a while. It's nice though. It's nice to be able to just go out and just being out on the course is fun.
Yeah, that's basically all we've been doing. Me and Jonah go out and play golf like once a week or something. That's basically all you can do, honestly. I mean, besides being at home, it just stinks. It's a tough time right now. But yeah.
Yes.
Has it? I don't really want to ask you a bunch of like Corona questions because they're like obvious, but has it like hindered your training at all? It doesn't seem like it has.
Not at all. It did in the beginning, because none of the gyms were open.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a house, and I luckily have one of my coaches living with me. I have a bunch of roommates, so we went to the park, did a bunch of mini sessions there, and I went on runs, and I started mountain biking. So I went out mountain biking a lot. But now that things are kind of open, I do all my MMA training at Extreme Couture, and then I do jiu-jitsu at 10 Planet, and then do all my strength conditioning at the UFC PI. So things been great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know it's scary though, because you don't want stuff to open up to like. So when you're at Extreme Couture or when you're at the PI, is it just like you, or is there other people there? Because I feel like, is there a lot of scheduling appointments and stuff?
It's only by appointment, so they schedule like my strength conditioning, only me, and then the next is there.
Is the same thing like for your gym?
No, the gym is kind of more. It's kind of like you have your coaches and your teammates, but anyone that goes into the gym they check the temperature, make sure you're not sick.
Oh, okay.
Making sure everybody's safe.
Right on. Yeah. So sorry, like the Zoom time is probably going to run up time out soon. So I want to ask you a couple more questions. So you obviously sound like you're.
Kellan.
Wait, what?
It just said you upgraded us, so I think we can go as long as we want.
Oh, for real? Okay. Well, I don't want to take up too much of his time, but so would you say that you are a like a UFC fan? Like, is that basically all you follow? Because there's some guys that besides their division, they don't really follow anything else.
I love the heavyweight division.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good friends with Stipe Miocic.
Oh yeah.
He was on when Stipe and Cormier.
Yeah.
I think it was 23 on Ultimate Fighter, I was on there as I was a translator for Stipe's team, and then ended up becoming one of the coaches.
Oh wow!
Cool. It was just like, and now I'm friends with the staff and big friends with Stipe. So I'm excited. I love the heavyweight division. Then I follow most of all the others because teammates of mine fight for the UFC as well. So yeah,
how do you see the trilogy playing out?
I want Stipe to fucking win again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the second fight was crazy. I thought it was DC for sure, but then those body shots, that was crazy. That like it's so cliche, but that mid fight adjustment was pretty insane.
It was, and I feel like the first fight, Cormier is a strong guy, so one good punch, changes the game. But it showed in the second fight. If it goes long, Stipe has a better chance of winning.
Mm-hmm. Did you watch the fights yesterday at all?
Some of them, yeah.
What did you? Yeah, I know the main event was pretty insane.
Yes, it was.
I liked it. I was scared at first because I didn't know how Robert Whittaker was gonna he looked a little not rusty, but I feel like I don't know. I thought Darren Till could have took it at the beginning with that elbow or whatever. I was scared for a second. He looked rocked.
Whittaker kind of stepped it up at the end.
For sure. You can tell the explosiveness difference between Robert and Darren. But yeah. So I want to ask one more question. So in your debut, you're in this crazy time right now, you're seeing a bunch of really good guys making their debuts. So do you think that obviously there's really good fighters in other organizations, but do you think the gap between them isn't as far off as people may think? Because obviously people think of the UFC being the pinnacle of the sport, Do you think that guys in other divisions are right there too?
For sure. There's a bunch of fighters that I know that are super good that haven't been. But I also know there's a bunch of fighters that are signed that they're I would destroy. Mm-hmm. So being in the UFC, yes, is the pinnacle of where you want to be, but there's great fighters everywhere.
Yeah,
I have a bunch of friends that fight for ONE FC, Bellator, and they're up there. If it was an all free for all, it'd be you would there'd be people in small shows that could beat people in the UFC.
For sure.
The thing about the UFC is now with all that they provide, I feel like the UFC fighters got an edge over everybody.
Yeah. Do you think that there could ever be inter-promotional bouts or anything?
No, I don't think so. I don't see the UFC doing that because they're so big. There's no it'd be different if it was if they were the same.
Yeah.
The UFC go ahead of everybody.
Nothing to gain from it, probably.
Yeah, nothing to gain from it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that with the growing talent, because obviously MMA has become a huge thing, worldwide. Do you ever see? I mean, obviously it's kind of hard to tell the future, but do you ever think that with the amount of talent that's rising up, do you think that there could ever be a promotion that maybe rivals the UFC or anything?
No, because realize the culture now. People don't ask if you do MMA. People ask, "Oh, you do UFC?"
Yeah, that's true.
So it's and when you say "Oh, you fight for Bellator or for Combate America," so fight for people are "Huh?" They might know it, but even someone that doesn't know MMA know what the UFC is.
Yeah, exactly. People just say do you watch UFC? They don't really say do you watch Bellator or anything else. You know what I mean? Unless
someone more specific into it, but if you get a brand new some parents or anybody that's into the sport, "Oh, you UFC," and I'm you always gotta. Before I always had to explain "Oh, there's a Combate America, I'm the world champion."
Yeah,
and it's a new. It's not the UFC. It's a different promotion. They're just as good, but just not. It's, now that's one of the best things about it. Now when people ask me, "Oh, you UFC?" Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but this was awesome. And I was super impressed with your fight. I think you're really good. And I wish you nothing but the best for your future bout. But yeah, thank you so much for doing this.
No worries.
Thank you.